Today I want to talk about why you need to address attachment trauma, especially if you want a happy, lasting relationship. Tell me if this resonates with you. Like you start a relationship, and as soon as you get attached for somebody, you start falling for them. You start feeling that neediness, feeling that sense of clinginess when they don't call you. You want to text them, and then you put your phone down thinking, oh, I don't want to be needy. But just thinking about that, should I text him or not, is kind of driving you crazy. And we all been there, no shame about it. The only problem is that you kind of adopt those negative labels such as needy, clingy, codependent. You are none of those things. You're not needy, you're not crazy, you're not clingy. What happens here is that there is some old trauma, and this person that didn't text you for a couple of days just triggered that trauma. Also, if you've been in a relationship, and we all know some of those people who can't live with them, can't live without them. They drive me crazy, but we are together. Let me know in comments if you resonate with any of this. So you two are basically repeating those same patterns. You just kind of trigger each other, and then you re-traumatize each other over and over and over again for decades. And that is very painful until you kind of give up on the idea that you can actually be happy. So I will explain what you need to do to stop this negative cycle, to stop, re-traumatizing yourself and your partner, and to kind of pause and not to adopt these negative labels, because you're not needy and clingy. Your desires for happiness in love are completely natural. But before I explain more, let me introduce myself. I'm Dalila Jusik-LaBerge, and I'm a relationship consultant and coach and therapist for women. I help women find love and partner who is eager to commit to her, without those mind games, without being annoyed constantly, without constant push and pull dance in a relationship. So let's talk about this. But before that, if you have any friends that can use this knowledge, that this broadcast can help them, please let them know about this broadcast, okay? And leave me a little loving if this resonates with you. Leave me a comment or even questions. If you have any questions, let me know. So what happens beyond these crazy dynamics? You feel out of sorts. You say, I feel like crazy. You also say that you feel like needy or clingy or any of those feelings, but that's not true. You're not needy or clingy. You've done so many amazing things. Some of my clients, including myself, and I have anxious attachment style. I mean, I acquired secure, but we moved continents. Codependent person doesn't do that. And I don't like that term, codependent, even though so many therapists use it, because the assumption is that we shouldn't want connection, we shouldn't want love. But the fact of the matter is it's completely natural need. It's just that when you don't experience it, then this old trauma comes back. You're triggered, and then you feel just frazzled. You don't know what's happening. So you feel out of sorts and not knowing what got you, in a way. And you go, you overthink, you go into your head because there is so much happening in your body. This attachment trauma is stored in your body, and you just kind of go into your head. And this is kind of like typical high functioning anxious person. We go and we overanalyze, overthink. But when you are in that space, this is not how you do relationships. That is good if you are business investor, if you are a rocket scientist or any other kind of scientist. Those are good skills. But when you cut them off from those other skills, from your emotional intelligence, then you miss the point in relationships. So what happens for so many of us, we go into this mode of over-analyzing, over-functioning, wondering, should I text him? How many hours should I text him? And all of that is, you're just working against yourself, calculating. And then I see so many people, when they calculate, when they try to do all of this, they wind up feeling resentful. What? I've done everything right, and things are not working out. And of course, they're not working out because you're figuring out relationships with your scientific brain. It's important to remember that it's not something special or opposite of special about this particular person that triggered you. It could be that you two attract each other because you trigger each other, because you're familiar with that pattern. Like anxiously attached people and avoidantly attached people attract each other. So that could be the part of it, but you need to remember that this person just triggered you. It's not that they made you feel like that. It's not that you are completely like attracted only to them. So you're attracted to those people due to that familiarity from your family dynamics. If your parent was emotionally distant, you may be attracted to emotionally distant people. When you're in your family, what happens is that there was some attachment trauma due to your parent inability to see you for who you are, see your needs. And it happens to the best of the parents. It doesn't have to be very high level of trauma or neglect. So we basically learn how to compartmentalize. And it's not just from parents, by the way, it's from the society too. Society teaches us that we are not good enough. So we wind up functioning in this headspace where we are operating as a smart, well-functioning, well-adjusted person, but inside, there is more going on that we are not aware. So what's going on with those parts that you swept under the rug and they want to come up? And what happens is that they are actually protecting you from hurt. They want to protect you. So there is fight and flight. There is, person who can't trust. So you wind up in this predicament. You so badly want this missing experience, this love, but you don't believe in it. So we develop these limiting beliefs. I'm not worthy of love because I just, I didn't experience that love just the way I am, because our parents had to work so hard and tell us how we should be, how we should function. So they wanted to create this, raise these high functioning people, and they raised high functioning people, but we learned that we are not just good enough the way we are, and we need to be somewhat prettier, taller, shorter in order to find love. Fill in the blank, whatever it is, your limiting belief. And sometimes we are not even aware of this because we know we are worthy, but we don't feel worthy. And then we go into this over-functioning mode, and we hope that that partner will be this fairy god, mother, father person who can see us, who can give us this missing experience, even though we are afraid to open up to that. So you see why it's important to address this emotional not any anxious attachment trauma, but also avoidant attachment. They both prevent us from enjoying love and life fully. And they served us well. These the limiting beliefs served us well so that we can push through. We can, we come here, but for the new experience, we need new identities. We need new beliefs that will open up for us. What can you do with this information? So remember this. When you get into triggering situation, you're going to feel out of sorts, right? And I just want you to kind of pause and you don't have to react right away when you're with your partner or when you're dating somebody. Just take your time, take a couple days, take a couple weeks. It doesn't matter. Process these emotions and remind yourself that this person is triggering you. They're not necessarily at fault for your emotions. You've had this for ages. Even, some of these things could happen even when you were in pre-verbal stages, when you were a baby, and quite often that's the case. So we actually have no idea what's happening, but we feel crazy, as so many of my clients say. Take your time to process your feelings. Ask yourself following questions, and even better if you do is if you write in a journal, what am I feeling right now? Just put everything down. Observe what's happening in your body. It could be like something in your chest, it could be tightening in your chest. It could be like difficulty breathing. Maybe you're feeling a knot in your belly. And then name your emotions. It's not shameful to feel insecure. We all feel insecure. It's okay. It's okay to not be all together all the time. And when you access those more vulnerable emotions, when you communicate from that vulnerable place, that's then how you set boundaries with your partner. That's how you share your heart with them. And that's how you allow them to actually give you that love, give you what you need. So you say, hey, when you don't call me for 3 days, I wonder if it's safe for me to keep opening my heart to you. I'm used to men that call me regularly. I like to be connected. You're not weak. You're not needy. You're just expressing your standards. You're just expressing your expectations. And if that person likes that, and most people do, most even avoidantly attached people want connection. Otherwise, they wouldn't be attracted to you, but they're afraid. In order to do this well, you may need a little help. And what I do in my sessions with clients, I help them learn how to recognize these own parts. That little girl that wanted to be loved, that little girl that's afraid that somebody will leave her if she expresses her needs. There was no space for her. She just needed to be a good girl. And now you're like, what the heck? What about me? Will somebody be as nice to me as I'm nice to them? But you need to actually show them what you need. And for that, you need to go back to yourself. So I help them learn how to recognize these own parts. And we work on integration of this smart, adult, well-functioning person and these younger parts that we just kind of kept away so that we don't feel pain. Once my clients become aware of them, and once they become compassionate towards these younger parts, that's when so much healing happens. So many years, these young parts were just neglected. And when we tend to them, we are able to, as grown-ups, advocate for them and talk to our partners and say, hey, I just need you to fill in a blank. I just need to feel connected. I don't like it when you don't respond to my texts. I also help my clients learn how to communicate these feelings to their partners so that they will actually build closer bonds rather than kind of start these World War III, mini World War III series for several decades. I teach them how to communicate with their partners so that they can actually empower both their partner and themselves. So let me know if you want to book a consult session to see if I can help you and what would it take. And I also have one of my favorite courses is Self-Love Revolution, Express Your Feelings and Capture His Heart course, where I teach you how to communicate your feelings to your partner, how to actually access your feelings. Because when you communicate from self-love instead of resentment, that's when you can build that bond. That's when you can teach them how to treat you. That's when you can set boundaries that will actually make your partner feel safer. And magic happens when you communicate from heart, when you communicate from self-love instead of resentment. But of course, resentment happens when you don't communicate, when you just continue hoping that somebody will see what you need, that somebody will recognize all that pain. So typical story that we know, it's kind of almost like a metaphor. There is a prince on a white horse who's gonna cut through all the vine and thorns and climb that tower. So that's kind of what we hope. But that happens only when we recognize, when we stand up for ourselves, and beautiful things happen. You become more attuned to yourself, and then you can actually be more attuned to your partner and see who is right partner for you, who is not right partner for you. So I hope that this helps. Let me know in comments. Tell your friends about this. This can help so many people. I will leave the link to the course